Hello and welcome to gusmcdollgames, and thank you to our subscribers. I'm Nick McDowell, and today we're continuing the Allied Grand Campaign in Close Combat A Bridge Too Far, a game based on the Battle of Arnhem, Operation Marketgarden. In this series, we use the missions in the Allied Grand Campaign to illustrate one or more aspects of World War II infantry minor tactics at the company level and below. Each episode, we conduct basic mission analysis, develop and analyse possible courses of action, then decide and execute the plan in real time, followed by lessons learned. Please remember to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And if you want to buy me a coffee, the links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. In this episode, we're in the Arnhem sector, the Arnhem Bridge area of operations. Our objective is Arnhem Bridge. It is day 2 of Operation Marketgarden, 1200 hours on 18 September 1944. Arnhem Bridge, the brass ring. The Arnhem Highway Bridge spans the lower Rhine River and is the gateway to the German industrial Ruhr Valley. Completed by the Dutch in 1934, destroyed by the Dutch in 1940, captured by the Germans in 1940, and rebuilt by the Germans in 1944, liberating the Arnhem Highway Bridge is your responsibility. Secure the approaches to the bridge and then the bridge itself. Partisans report the presence of panzer units in the area, but RAF reconnaissance says no. Suffer as few casualties as possible. You must hold out until your 1st Airborne lads reinforce you or 30 Corps relieves you. German forces have closed in behind you. If you are forced off this map, your troops will be dead or captured. There is no path of retreat. Let's examine our forces. Airborne Bren teams are the core of the British Army. They use a light machine gun, bolt-action rifles and hand grenades. Use them on the front lines, but they should run or hide from tanks. Airborne rifle teams use bolt-action rifles and hand grenades. The team leader is armed with a submachine gun. Use rifle teams on the front lines and to hold victory locations. They are useless against tanks. Airborne Piat teams consist of an anti-tank bomb projector, a bolt-action rifle and hand grenades. Not as effective as the Panzerschreck, the Piat's effective range is 8 to 80 metres. Airborne ad hoc rifle teams are low-quality replacement teams. They use single-shot rifles and hand grenades. The team leader is armed with a submachine gun. Use them to free up quality teams for other duties. Airborne 6-pounder light anti-tank gun teams also contain rifles and grenades. Best used as an anti-tank weapon, this gun is also effective against infantry targets. Its high rate of fire makes up for its low armour penetration. Airborne 3-inch medium mortar teams also contain bolt-action rifles and hand grenades. Because mortars can shoot over obstacles, position these teams behind buildings or trees. Use them to suppress enemy infantry and lay smoke screens. Airborne Vickers medium machine gun teams also include bolt-action rifles and hand grenades. Position these teams in multi-storey buildings or locations with long lines of sight so they can suppress enemy infantry. Next, let's look at the map and do some mission analysis. I'll develop a plan and then execute it in the game. Our mission is to seize Arnhem Bridge in order to allow 30 Corps to cross the Rhine. We have a parachute infantry company from the British 1st Airborne Division, consisting of 2 Bren sections, 2 rifle sections, 2 Piat teams, and 3 half sections, with a 6-pounder anti-tank gun, 3-inch mortar detachment, and Vickers machine gun in support. North is towards the bottom of the map. I have marked 6 areas of interest. Number 1, the Arnhem Highway Bridge, the famous bridge across the Rhine, the objective of the entire campaign, mere yards away. Number 2, a block of closely packed buildings and warehouses either side of the bridge, the north side of which overlooks the approach to the bridge. Number 3, a triangular block of multi-storey buildings overlooking a courtyard in the centre. Number 4, a 2-storey building with excellent observation and fields of fire down the road running east-west to the bridge, effectively cutting this area in half and making the road an obstacle. Number 5, the block of government buildings with a 3-storey public works building to the east overlooking the approach to the bridge. And number 6, the raised embankment, bridge abutment and bridge access, overlooked by multi-storey buildings on 3 sides, any of which can control access to the bridge. This is an aerial photograph of the same location as it appears now. This area was largely destroyed during the fighting, and much has changed since the war. The bridge itself was rebuilt and renamed the John Frost Brug for obvious reasons, but the broad outlines and key locations are all still clearly recognisable. I assess the enemy will defend the bridge with a mixed force of infantry and tanks. The enemy's most likely course of action is to establish forward positions in the 2 blocks to the west of the bridge, forcing me to fight for every single building along the way. Their tanks will prevent movement along or across the road, and each platoon can provide covering fire across the other's front. The enemy's most dangerous course of action is to hold back their troops, forcing my troops to cross areas of open ground to get to the bridge. Any attempt to get to the bridge will be met with concentrated fire from machine guns, mortars and tanks into engagement areas in the open ground. This will weaken my forces and ultimately prevent them from seizing the bridge. My first course of action is a rapid but stealthy approach along the riverfront, clearing the buildings to the south but otherwise avoiding contact. My forces will then clear both riverfront blocks and set up a defensive position looking north over the objective. I'll place the machine gun in the building to the west to cover the courtyard, the anti-tank gun next to the 2-story building to target enemy tanks moving down or across the main street, and the mortar close by. This is a solid plan and uses surprise, but does not make best use of my support assets, which are also vulnerable to enemy fire and counterattack from the north. My second course of action is to clear both riverfront blocks west to east, then set up a defensive position. Again, I'll place the machine gun in the building to the west to cover the initial advance across the courtyard, the anti-tank gun next to the 2-story building to target enemy tanks moving down or across the main street, and the mortar close by. Also a solid plan, but exposes my left flank in the advance, and again does not make best use of my support assets, which are also vulnerable to enemy fire and counterattack from the government buildings to the north. My third course of action is to advance on the left flank, clearing the northern block of buildings and seizing the 3-story public works building overlooking the bridge approach. Once I seize this position, I will control access to the bridge. Any German presence in the riverfront blocks will become untenable, and they are likely to withdraw. I'll place the machine gun and anti-tank gun around the 2-story building to prevent the enemy moving down or across the main street, and the Piat teams and mortar close by. I will also place an ad hoc rifle section on the right flank for security. This consolidates my fire support, provides more security, and enables this echelon to support the main echelon. In all 3 cases, my intent is for my main echelon of riflemen to occupy a position overlooking the bridge approach, while the support echelon provides firepower and protects against tanks. Ultimately, the decision comes down to economy of effort. The first 2 courses of action require the main echelon to clear 2 locations to reach the objective, all while moving further away from the supporting echelon. The third course of action requires the main echelon to clear only 1 location to reach the objective, while remaining close to the supporting echelon and with each echelon able to protect the other. Infantry units or formations are organised in 2 echelons, an echelon of riflemen and an echelon of supporting fire for these riflemen. The principal weapons of the echelon of riflemen are the light machine gun, rifle and bayonet. Infantry units also carry a supply of smoke and high explosive grenades. The supporting echelon is equipped with machine guns and mortars and may also include anti-tank weapons if armoured fighting vehicles are likely to be met. We have 30 minutes to achieve our objectives. I will now move my troops into position and execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you have identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. The ad hoc rifle sections scout ahead of the main echelon to make contact with the enemy, and the rifle sections move into firing positions. The Bren sections remain in overwatch. Meanwhile, the support echelon of machine gun, mortar, anti-tank gun and Piat teams remain concealed.
Move completed. Move completed. Move completed. Move completed.
Grenades are thrown. The enemy are near. I catch an enemy Aufklärer squad with crossfire from 2 rifle sections. The Bren gun section opens fire from a depth position in the 4-story building. They are targeting a Schützen squad assaulting across open ground from the public works building. The mortar joins in with fire at short range. On the right flank, a rifle section moves forward to reinforce. On the left flank, the Bren section eliminates a reserve squad. All of a sudden, a Mark IV Panzer makes an appearance, moving down the street. It is less than 100 meters from my anti-tank gun, concealed by the two-story building. Target tank. Fire! Misses. Load, AP. Fire! Misses again. Load. I move a Piat team forward. The tank seems unconcerned by this threat and targets infantry in the building opposite, exposing its flanks to the gun. The gun traverses.
Move completed.
Fire! Yes! The tank is destroyed. 2 crew dead, 1 incapacitated, and the other 2 bail out and flee. The third tank kill of the campaign, again to a British 6-pounder. Meanwhile, the mortar crew has taken a hit from a German mortar round, and Private Chamberlain is dead. There seem to be 2 Schutzen squads in the buildings ahead, and the mortar shifts fire to the rear position.
Move completed.
Both Bren sections crawl forward to new firing positions.
Move completed.
On the right flank, a Panzerschreck is fleeing the scene to the south and is targeted by the ad hoc rifle section. The ad hoc rifle section on the left flank moves forward, followed by the section on the right flank. Meanwhile, the Vickers keeps up suppressing fire against an enemy MG42 squad on the other side of the bridge.
Completed. Move completed.
The Bren and rifle sections set up a base of fire, while the ad hoc rifle sections manoeuvre under cover of machine gun and mortar fire.
Move completed. Move completed.
There is an explosion as the ammunition in the Mark IV Panzer cooks off. The 3-inch mortar runs out of HE ammunition, but it has done its job in breaking up the enemy attack and suppressing their forces. To the south, the ad hoc rifle section is moving in the courtyard, apparently chasing down the Panzerschreck. But this is a diversion from the main effort. I order them back to the north to provide covering fire to the main assault in progress. I move my Bren section and Piat team forward to consolidate my right flank.
Move completed. Move completed. Move completed.
An MG42 opens up from the other side of the bridge.
Move completed. Move completed.
The Vickers prepares to deliver more suppressing fire, but can't quite find the target.
In position.
The ad hoc rifle section across the street moves further forward. The ad hoc rifle section on the left flank crawls forward. It occupies the building across from the public works. The battlefield goes quiet momentarily. The Germans are not firing back. Time for a double envelopment.
Move completed. Move completed.
The troops on the right flank press forward.
Pick up your weapon.
Move completed. Move completed. In position.
The ad hoc rifle section on the left assaults the public works building. The two Bren sections in the middle are the base of fire and keep up suppressing fire on the Schutzen squad.
Ammunition. Conserve ammunition. Conserve ammunition. Conserve ammunition.
Apparently, we are running low on ammunition, but I
Conserve
spot at least
ammunition.
one soldier
Move
withdrawing to the
completed.
east.
Conserve ammunition.
The Germans throw grenades without result, then surrender.
Target eliminated.
Hurrah! The battle ended because the Germans were routed from the map. The Allies gained control of the area, but the Germans are expected to launch a counterattack later. The German forces took excessive losses. I have made Allied progress of 110 against expected progress of 106 by the end of the day. I suffered 1 KIA and inflicted on the enemy 18 KIA, 1 tank destroyed and 6 soldiers captured. I'm happy with the overnight ceasefire period on offer, not that I have a choice. In any case, I've been assured that 30 Corps will be here sometime tomorrow, so by next Sunday we'll be back home in Blighty, in time for tea and crumpets, and medals at the palace. Let's examine casualties on both sides. First, the British. 1 casualty. Unfortunately, Private Chamberlain is lost to an enemy mortar shell, but his detachment accounted for 1/3 of German casualties. Distinguished conduct medals go to Lance Bombardier Cooper and Gunner Carnahan of the 6-pounder anti-tank crew. Their prompt action destroying the Mark IV Panzer undoubtedly saved many lives and contributed to a swift victory. Then, the Germans. Killed, wounded or surrendered, they lost an MG-42, 2 Schützen squads, an Aufklärer, a reserve squad and a Mark IV tank. Their commander, Unterscharführer Winger, reports back to division headquarters with a mortar detachment and a Panzerschreck team, but no bridge. So what did we learn? This was a decisive victory over the Germans, wiping out their forces and seizing the most important objective of the whole campaign for the loss of a single soldier. Of course, in each battle until now, many others lost their lives to get this parachute company within sight of the bridge. But what made this particular victory possible was teamwork. Cooperation and mutual support between different elements of the main echelon and between the main and supporting echelons was the key. The riflemen on the left, taking the public works building, were covered by the riflemen on the right, and both were covered by 2 Bren sections providing a base of fire. The mortar suppressed the enemy infantry, the Vickers neutralised the enemy machine gun, and the anti-tank gun destroyed the Panzer. Just like Bob the Soldier says, working together, we get the job done. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.